What's up with y'all? What's up with y'all? Welcome back to Moxy Approved. One of my favorite debaters online, Tariq Nasheed. He does it again. Y'all know I like sharing these classic clips. He does it again, this time with a white guy who's pretty much against reparations in a strong way, though. In a strong way. He has some interesting quotes that he used. So before we get to this clip, please do me one small favor. Hit that like button. And if you haven't yet, apply pressure to that subscribe button. Apply pressure to that subscribe button. Run the tape.
Jeff, hop on if you want to get in early. You made an early request. What's up, Jeff?
How you doing? I just want to know, why do you call yourself FBA?
Because we are foundational Black Americans. We are a very distinct lineage group. So it's a lineage-based designation. That makes sense?
Yeah, but black people didn't lay the foundation of America.
Who did?
White people.
But why did white people, particularly the white supremacists, fail when they tried to do it on their own every single time? Why is that?
Well, they didn't. You guys cherry pick history.
How so?
But you're talking about the starving times, which was one winter, right?
No.
And it ended by other white settlers.
No, sir.
Yes.
It was more than the.
There's a man named John Rolfe.
Sir. It was more
that had
than
the first tobacco.
Let's slow it down. All right, we got to slow bake this. If you're going to come in here lying, we got to take one lie at a time. Okay. The starving time in Virginia, that was really the last time. And then after that, Black people were introduced to the colonies, and that's when they stopped starving. Okay. But even before the starving time in Virginia, they were starving before. Roanoke, okay. They all got killed off in Roanoke. St. Augustine, they got killed off and starved off in St. Augustine, Florida. San Miguel del Guadalupe, the Black people who they brought over ran them out of there. That was in 1526, sir. So if we're going to go into history, we got to be truthful. You understand that?
Well, you're not being truthful, because the starving times was 1609 to 1610. The first slaves in that colony of Virginia didn't get there to 1619. So it already ended by other white colonists. And his name, you can look him up, is John Rolfe, who saved that colony and had the first tobacco export. So you're just cherry picking history. He did not.
In 1619, whereas I think in 1620, when they did a census, there was already a Black population there. They were already documenting Black people there before the arrival of the Black so-called slaves who were brought in by that Dutch ship. There were already Black people there, sir. All right. And there were already Black people in the Americas. That was very well documented before 1619. Do you understand that?
Okay, if you built this country, why couldn't you build up Africa? Why can't you build up your community? Let me guess, the white man, right?
Sir,
the white man.
Nobody in my family has lived in Africa for half a millennia, dude. I don't know what's happening over there. I'm a foundational Black American. I can tell you what foundational Black Americans built. We built this country, sir. We built this country from scratch. And the white supremacists, when they tried to do it on their own, they failed over and over again. Multiple times. They could not get it popping on their own, sir. Is that true or not true?
That is false, because you're cherry picking history.
I'm not cherry picking history, sir. When were they successful without Black people's input?
Okay. I already told you, the first tobacco export before any slave was in that colony.
Are you guys selling meth over there? What's going on? I hear some stuff in the background. Are you okay?
You know, it's Christmas Eve. We're having a little party. But anyways.
So they didn't get anything popping until after 1619. Just because they stopped starving doesn't mean that they got things popping. They just stopped starving in 1610, okay? They didn't get any type of progressive economy.
They were exporting tobacco. You can look the history up.
Sir.
And there was a fur trade between the French. Like, you just cherry picking history.
Anything. They didn't become.
If you built this country,
become successful until Black people were introduced. And the people doing all the cultivating of the tobacco were black people. The white people weren't doing it. Europeans, they didn't come from an agrarian culture. So what are you talking about, sir? What are you talking about?
All right, first of all, most people didn't own slaves.
Hold
Most
on,
of
wait,
the
wait,
work
wait,
was
wait,
done by
wait, wait,
skilled
wait,
white.
just stop. Let's slow it down. We got to take one lie at a time. Your culture, European culture, you weren't an agrarian culture. You guys didn't know how to cultivate crops like that because you weren't doing it in Europe. So what are you talking about?
The proof is
Well,
in the
yeah, no,
pudding
you're
today.
right. The
You
proof
can't
is in the
build
pudding.
one
Well, no,
civilization
stop it.
today.
Stop it. If you could cultivate crops so well, why didn't you do it in Europe?
We
No,
already
you
did.
didn't.
You can't
No,
even
you
do it in
didn't. No, you
Africa. They're
didn't. No,
starving
you
at the highest
didn't.
rate.
No, you didn't. You didn't know how to cultivate crops in Europe because really because of the soil there doesn't even support certain crops. You understand? There's too much sulfur in the soil out there in Europe. That's why a lot of you white supremacists, when you get wet, you smell a little funny. Not all of you, but just the white supremacists. But go ahead. Go ahead.
The proof is in the pudding today. If you built this country, you should be able to build up your community. And don't tell me about the white man won't let us do it. Oh, they'll
Mhm.
destroy it. Why can't you build up your community?
We can
Why can't you? Everywhere around the world you live as a
because
shit.
we're under a system of global white supremacy. You white supremacists sabotage us every time we build our communities, and we've built our communities repeatedly here in North America. I'm talking about us in specific in particular. Every time we build it, every time we build our prosperous communities, without any exception, your community destroys it and tears it down. Is that true or not true?
That's
Name a
false.
community that we built that was prosperous that you guys didn't destroy and undermine. Name one.
You don't even have a
Sir,
community because
stop
everything around
it.
you is invented by white
Stop
people.
it. Stop it. We had Wilmington, North Carolina, prosperous black area. Tulsa, Oklahoma, prosperous area. Rosewood, Florida, prosperous black area. Hastings Street, Michigan, Detroit, prosperous area. We had prosperous black areas all over the country. Central Avenue out here in Los Angeles, prosperous black area. And they did everything they could to undermine these areas by building freeways, railroads, redesigning the city. They've done this stuff over and over again, sir. This is very well documented. So you're saying that ain't true?
Well, look, Europe had 2 world wars and they were able to rebuild.
Because
If you
they
look
had
at
a
the most
Marshall
developed
Plan,
countries, they're in
because there
Europe.
was a Marshall Plan. The West
So why don't you come up with a
because
plan if you're so
because
creative and
because
innovative?
we're under.
Why don't
That's
you?
what we're doing now. That's why we're trying to get reparations so we can get our form of a Marshall Plan like the Europeans did. They had millions and millions of dollars poured into Europe to rebuild Europe. Okay, don't sit up and make it seem like they just did it from scratch. The Western powers gave them money to rebuild Europe. There was a Marshall Plan. We've never had a Marshall Plan ever. We've always had to rebuild from scratch, and we're still, some of us are very successful despite of the sabotage. So is that why you're salty? Because we can do it without a
Okay, you just contradict
how so?
yourself. You
How
contradicted
so?
yourself. You said some of us are successful. So
Without
why aren't they? How are they being successful? White
no,
supremacy.
despite
It doesn't make any
no, we're
sense.
successful despite of white supremacy in many cases.
Then there's no white
How so?
supremacy. If you could be successful,
Yes, yeah, it is white supremacy. We're just so talented. We have so much talent and we're so thorough. We can still rise within the system. Some of us can. Unfortunately, many of us cannot. And that's why we're trying to get this reparations going, sir. That just speaks to our greatness.
you can't manage money. The NBA, most people in the NBA go broke. The NFL go broke. You don't need
Yes, we do.
reparations. You need to get off your
Well, how
ass.
come you didn't get off your ass and build Europe? How come you fled and came here?
We did build
No, you
Europe.
didn't.
What are you
No, you
talking
didn't.
about? There's not one African country more developed than a European country.
Sir,
Even the worst
I
of the
don't live in
worst.
Africa. I'm talking about, I'm a foundational black American, and this is the most progressive country in the world that my family built.
We came here to expand our global
Right.
empire, and it
And
worked
I
out for
hear,
us.
sir,
We
slow
actually built
down.
something here.
And I hear,
But
do I hear a Latino accent with you, sir? Where are you from? Where's your family from? And let's be honest, where's your family from? Because I kind of
doesn't
see y'all,
matter.
and that's another thing.
You want to
No,
deflect and
no,
not
no, no.
debate
And you got,
someone.
and, no,
Well,
and
where are you?
notice how ashamed you are of your European heritage. You see? Notice how ashamed you are of your European heritage, sir. You never want to admit what slum of Europe you came from. You dig? Or what slum from South America you came from. You don't even sound like an Anglo. I hear an
What
accent here, sir.
the continent with the most slums and poverty is
But
Africa. You can
but
even build
I
Africa.
haven't lived in Africa, and nobody in my family has lived in Africa,
But
sir.
yet you claim all these ancient African
Yes,
civilizations on
thousands
your
of years ago.
documentary.
Yes, thousands of years ago, my people were there, but we haven't
But
been there.
you're
Well,
not African. So why
no.
would you?
My family has not been there for centuries, so that don't count. All the great empires, where when my people were there, it was a different thing. I don't know what's happening over there now. It has nothing to do with me now. I'm a foundational Black American, and I built the country that you fled to, sir. So what's going on with that?
You didn't create the
The
government. You didn't create the
We
majority of
created the
employment. You
wealth.
did not build
We
this country.
created the wealth. The wealth was created from our labor and us sustaining our integrity by being subjugated and exploited. And we sacrificed and we built the nation and the wealth of this nation off of our backs, sir. So why are you so ungrateful to foundational Black America? You should be thanking us.
If that's true, go build the wealth in your community
Well,
and stop blaming.
we're in a global community of white supremacy. That's the problem. We're militarized. We're militarily subjugated right now. So when we do build our communities, it gets undermined. So we have to take care of the white supremacy problem and replace that with the system of justice, right?
Are there successful Black communities in America? Can you find pockets of Black
We can
success?
find pockets of it, but unfortunately,
So why aren't those pockets getting
well,
destroyed?
the thing is,
Why are they
because
able?
they're just pockets. When it gets more than just a pocket, that's when the undermining happens, sir. And that's the problem. We get
The truth is,
anti-Black racists such as yourself who come from slums of Europe and South America who couldn't build their communities back home, and then you come over here and try to pull some kind of rank.
the most developed
You didn't
countries
develop your homeland,
are in
sir.
Europe.
You the one.
Look at the
Sir, look at
statistics. The
sir.
human.
You fled, sir. You fled your homeland. Your family fled because they failed. You can't point your finger at foundational Black Americans and say nothing. You fled. We didn't.
No, we came here to expand our global
Fleeing.
empire.
No empire. You fled, sir.
We had to get
No,
permission to
you
leave
fled. You fled.
to establish the colony.
You
You don't even
fled,
know
and you're not
history.
English, sir. Stop talking about a colony. You're not English. I can hear you. You don't even have an Anglo accent. I can hear it in your voice. I hear Goya.
You don't know anything
I hear
about me.
Goya powder, sir. You don't sound Anglo whatsoever, and you have nothing to do with the Virginia colonies at all. Okay, let's stop that. You have nothing to do with that. You came from some,
Most people did
sir. You
not
came
own
from
slaves.
some slum in Europe or South America somewhere. Okay, and you're ashamed to admit what slum your family came from. That's why you're trying to project on foundational Black Americans. We didn't flee, sir. You did.
You didn't
No, we
flee?
didn't. We didn't flee nothing. We built it.
There's more Africans that migrated here than that were taken in slavery. You can look
What the
that
hell are
up.
you talking about? What are
You
you
fled from Africa even after we
What are
enslaved
you
you. You
talking
said,
about?
"Oh, I want to go to the white man's
What the
country."
hell are you? You're just saying anything, sir. Now you're trolling. You're just trolling and babbling now, sir. What are you talking about? What are you talking about?
There are more Africans that migrated to America than were taken in slavery. Well, you sold each
Well,
other out,
stop.
but
Oh, stop it. Look,
you can
people,
look the
stop
stats up.
it. African people started migrating in large numbers after the 1960s. That doesn't have anything to do with my lineage. That has nothing to do with my lineage, sir. I'm from a distinct lineage of the people who are the foundation of this country, who built it from the ground up and gave you a lane to flee to, sir. So why
But
are
that's not
so true?
true.
And you
You
know
think
it.
black slaves were the only people to do labor?
Yes, for free. Yes, for
That's
free. Yes,
false.
and not get compensated.
Doesn't matter if it
Yes.
was paid or it's still a form
No,
of
no, no,
labor.
no, no. We're to do it for free.
Indentured
To do it for
servants.
free. Yes,
Do
us.
you know the story of Bacon's rebellion?
I know about Bacon's
There were
rebellion.
Irish and blacks in the same field.
And the Irish got paid and the black folks didn't, and that's why we're trying to get our reparations. See how that works?
You didn't deserve to get paid because you
Oh,
sold each
stop!
other into slave. You sold your
Oh,
labor.
stop! No. How did the Europeans who were indentured servants, why did they deserve to get paid? Many of them were prisoners that were sent over by the English aristocrats to work off a debt. So they were sold off by the white English. So why did they deserve to get paid and we didn't?
Because they have a higher average IQ and they bring more
Oh,
value.
okay. So we just naturally have a lower IQ.
Well, that's what the studies show. There's multiple
Got it.
studies.
So now,
But the studies also
okay,
show you're more
okay. So
athletic.
now let's check.
And Asians even have a higher average IQ than white. It's not white supremacists,
Okay, so
it shows Asians have a higher IQ than whites.
So the Asians and whites are just smarter, and we just have lower IQs, so we are just genetically inferior as far as IQs, right? Oh,
yes.
Got it. So why are you complaining about a group of people who don't know no better? Okay, that means we don't know any better, so we need to be taken care of. So
when you demand reparations,
why antagonize a group of people who don't know any better? That means we're handicapped. So you're supposed to take care of the handicap. So give us our money, give us double reparations then, because we're too handicapped to make it on our own. Okay.
You fought to be part of my system.
Because we're handicapped, as you just proved. You just said we have lower IQ, so we don't know any better. So you need to roll the red carpet out for us. You need to give us a special tag. Remember, handicapped people, they get to park in the front of the store. You get special privileges to go on planes. You get special privileges to travel because you are not as able-bodied as the high IQ people such as yourself. So why are you antagonizing a group of people who are basically handicapped, as you say, right?
Look, there's multiple studies showing even when blacks start out at the same income level, they're more likely to end up in poverty.
That's fine. Then give us the money. We need to be taken care of by the government. We shouldn't be mistreated, even though you say
you're living off the government already, dude.
No. If we're handicapped, you don't mistreat us, no matter what our IQ is. You're talking about mistreating a group of people who you say are handicapped. So if we're handicapped and our IQs are just lower, we need double the money. We need to be taken care of because we can't cut it on our own, sir. So you're giving a great argument for reparations. We need double reparations because we can't cut it.
Black people owe white people reparations.
No. Our IQs are too low. What are you talking about? How does a low IQ group of people owe the high IQ group of people some money? And you've exploited us for our labor.
Because you have a better life here than any African country because of white people.
I don't live in Africa. Nobody in my
Most
family.
of you work for white companies.
Okay. Nobody in my family.
You don't provide anything for society.
Also about that IQ. If the IQs were already low, why did y'all make it illegal for us to read? If our IQs were so low, why were you so hell-bent on not having us educated and us getting hold of books? What was that about? If our IQs were so low, as you said.
A lot of that's just myths. It's not. If you really look into it,
myth.
Yeah,
this was on law books. So the laws were lying. What are you talking about?
You were able to read most.
No, we
taught you how to
read.
read.
We're getting killed.
How are you speaking English? This is not a African language.
No, you didn't have to read it.
We taught you this language. We taught you everything about life.
A baby can speak English, and a baby can't read. What are you talking about? A baby can speak English, sir, and a baby doesn't read books.
Foundational white Americans built this country. You're just lucky to be here.
You're babbling, sir. You're babbling.
Man, another classic one. Yo, did you hear when the white guy said foundational white Americans? I mean, we can't start up nothing. Obviously, if you don't know, that's from the term that was created, foundational black Americans. Y'all know we can't come up with no slang without them hijacking the slang. Let me know in the comment section what you feel about this conversation. I presume in the upcoming months/years, as California talks about reparations, like I said before in another video, you're going to see people from different ethnicity groups stepping up, talking against this. But of course, you're going to see a lot of white Americans talking against this. So let me know in the comment section how you feel about this clip and some of the points that were made. Moxy out.